Violence on the Internet is written by S.J. Fowler, an English poet and the founder of European Poetry Festival. It was published in Poetry Magazine by Poetry Foundation, April 2017 issue. Violence on the Internet. A circle. What was needed was a circuit and a good operating system. What's within is without being seen to be so. Optical anomaly as unexceptional. 4 left the square, one-way turning system until it becomes its other way. A passive insistence on multiples until that divorces itself, becomes single. A single pitch made up of the sounds of multiples. Conduction. Instrumental absence. Fundamentals establish separate planets. Similarity wars upon their lines, planes. Said well, here opens, hiss, sits at its bottom, the bodies. Spoke well, agreed in kind, general, but the way of its expressions requires hurt and then treatment, of skin for leather clothes or whatever. It's old, sometimes often. Depending on the question, it can be the answer. One shouldn't be proud to not have it. A knee, an elbow, 3 arms up, then a last one, a 4th. Last and happiest, willing, fully skin end. The way. Foam on the head of the safest society in human civilization. Amnesia to people who will actually harm and hurt. In the first 6 stanzas, this poetry uses plenty of scientific or systemic vocabs, such as a circuit, a good operating system, optical anomaly, system, pitch, conduction, and instrumental absence. These vocabs sound detached, and somehow they make the poetry sound like it was created by an algorithm. However, as the poetry goes on, more humane and emotive language is used. For instance, Fowler used the expression, but the way of its expressions requires hurt and then treatment. Another example is in the line, last and happiest, willing, fully skin end. These contrasting tones give a sense of duality between mechanical and emotional. The poetry opens with the first stanza that uses a metaphor about how a circle is made from something automatic and machine-like. On the contrary, the last stanza talks about humans and the painful effect they feel from the violence on the internet, using direct yet emotional language, such as harm and hurt. There are some sound devices in this poetry, such as sibilants or the hissing sound. It can be found in the first stanza, a circle. What was needed was a circuit and a good operating system. The 4th stanza, a passive insistence on multiples until that divorces itself, becomes single. And the 14th stanza, the way. Foam on the head of the safest society in human civilization. There are also some internal rhymes, such as what's within is without being seen to be so. Optical anomaly as unexceptional. The poetry starts with a stanza that talks about how the internet on its own is formless. Fowler used a circle as a metaphor. It takes a circuit, another metaphor, or a sort of path to form a circle. Similarly, the internet is shapeless, but the combination of algorithm and the user community give it a form. Furthermore, whether we realize it or not, the content we consume and the people we interact with on social media are decided by algorithms, just like what Fowler wrote in the second stanza. What's within is without being seen to be so. The algorithm, although it might seem a little bit abstract for the average lay people, has influenced the spread of culture and information. This idea is explored further in the fifth stanza. The phrase, a single pitch, and sounds of multiples can be taken as imagery. Whether they realize it or not, people's perspectives on things are molded from the various influences they see on the internet. Hundreds of information and opinion pile up into noises, or the sounds of multiples, and if someone consumes them frequently, they can shape the person's biases and prejudices. A single pitch. In the eighth stanza, Fowler wrote, "Spoke well, agreed in kind, general, but the way of its expressions requires hurt and then treatment. Of skin for leather clothes or whatever. It's old, sometimes often." In internet discourse, people who share the majority opinion tend to persecute the others who have the less popular opinions. Those opinions are thoroughly elaborated, which convince even more people to agree with them, but sometimes expressed in an ill-mannered way. People often forget that the people they are talking to is also a human being behind the screen. In some cases, online bullying leads to mental health issue and trauma that can be difficult to heal. Thus, the phrase requires hurt and then treatment. It's old, indeed, but this issue keeps perpetuating and is difficult to moderate.